Okay, welcome everybody to Saratoga Whiskey Club tasting number 198.
Whoa.
We're only two tastings away from Big 200, which is pretty cool. It came faster than I thought, but that's what we do here in Saratoga. So we drink a lot of whiskey. But this is fun. We're joined again for the third time now by Mr. Jay Roberts. He runs the WhiskeyLab. And Jay is going to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about himself. We have quite a few new people online tonight, so probably good to give you a little bit of a background into what you do. And then we are going to taste through 7 wonderful scotches. And the order is whatever Jay wants the order to be. I just made the placemat without really thinking too deeply because I knew it probably wasn't going to be correct anyhow in terms of order. So, we can do whatever Jay tells us to do. But yeah, so we're going to taste through 7. As we go through them, we have actually 6 out of the 7 available at the moment in the shop. So as we go through these, I will also put a link in the chat room in case you want to take a look at the bottle and pick one up. There's not a lot of them. There's like 1 or 2 of each of these. So if you do really like it, probably don't wait too long to grab it. But without further ado, let's welcome Jay to the room again, and hopefully we will have Jay in person sometime to do a fun tasting in the future as well. But thanks for coming online with us tonight, Jay, and let's get this party started.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Jay Roberts and Charles. I hope that is in the summertime, maybe in
Yeah,
May. I'd
yeah,
love to bring the family up there for a weekend or so.
that'd be fun.
Yeah, but I'm Jay Roberts with the Whiskey Lab. The Whiskey Lab is an importer and distributor, and we have a website that is consumer facing as well. But the Whiskey Lab is specifically built for independent bottlers. And I came across this journey into whiskey having zero experience in the industry. I'm former Navy. And then when I got out of the Navy, I moved to DC and worked at some of the agencies. And while doing that, I bought a cask of whiskey. I don't know, anybody here buy a cask or own any casks of Scotch or, all right, Charles. Well, if you are an individual and you own a cask of whiskey, there was not a legal way for you to get your bottles sent to you from Scotland. Technically, it was smuggling when they would just ship it to you directly. In America, you have to import, go through a distributor to a retailer, and a retailer can give you bottles. There's no way for you to just have your bottles that you own shipped to you, technically. And so I bought a cask, wanted to have it bottled, and wanted to kind of learn the business a little bit because I loved it, and I've been doing tasting events with friends. So along that journey of setting up a company to import my own cask, brands like Uncharted Whiskey, Carragh, and Glaschu Spirits approached me and said, "Hey, we'd like to go to the United States." While figuring that out and learning the process, importers typically work with big brands that have repeatable products. And there's a few importers that work with indie bottlers, but there's not just a dedicated importer for indie bottlers. And that's what the Whiskey Lab is. I only work with indie bottlers. And outside of 2 imports that I've done or 2 releases, the 42 products I've brought over so far in 18 months, 40 of them are a single cask or a vatting of 2 casks. And there's 2 small batch, one of which we have today. So again, the Whiskey Lab is for independent Scotch bottlers. And I have 5 brands under management. We're going through 3 tonight. I have 3 more joining over the next 2 months. But yeah, that's me.
What are the other, why don't you mention the other brands before we get into these brands, just the ones you've had, and maybe a
Sure.
sneak peek into the ones that are coming. That would be
Sure,
great.
sure. So that cask I bought created the brand Whispering Waters. I was a submariner in the Navy. I was stationed in Saratoga Springs a long time ago. And the submarine service is known as the Silent Service. So Whispering Waters is a nod to that. That's my brand. The other brand that I work with. It's called Fergus Harris. They're a pretty cool brand. Does a lot of experiments in weird casts, and they've used a lot of virgin oak. They use white port in some of their casts. But then we have the three today: Carragh, Uncharted, and Glaschu. What I have upcoming is Ian from North Star Spirits, two of his brands, Obscurities and Curiosities, which is a pretty cool concept. He has five kind of designs, one for each official region of Scotland. And those are all single casks. And so we're going through and tasting those and going to pick five releases to come stateside. So that'll launch with five single cask products from five different distilleries and one in each region. Two of them will likely be unnamed just to keep prices down. If you ever bought an unnamed Highland Park, like Uncharted Whiskey Co's Park Life, it really reduces the cost overall when you can get a cask that is unnamed. And then the other release is actually the first blend that I'm going to bring over. He calls it the Express. So the Campbelltown Express is a blend of Glen Scotia and Springbank. And there's going to be the Isla Express, which is Kailila and Buttevant. But maybe, I'm sure I said that wrong, but it'll be a cool blend. It's not something you typically see big name brands blended together and published. So really excited to bring those over. And then another company called the Red Cask, and everything they do is in a really nice. I think it's actually Glencairn is the glass bottle producer, but a really big top, and everything they do is single cask, and it's only sherry. They advertise maturation in sherry, but I think we all of us here know that finish and maturation mean the same thing in Scotland. It's not always fully matured from day one, but there are always sherry cask finishes, and it's great products. They sell very fast, and it's just a beautiful glass. So those are the three new brands I'm bringing over.
Okay.
Two of them from North Star Spirits.
Oh, that's so. Is North Star, is that one of the three new companies you're bringing over, or is that the portfolio that will be new?
So North Star Spirits is a bottling hall, and they have a brand, but there's a North Star wine in America, so we can't bring that brand over.
I got
So
it.
we're bringing his single cask,
Right.
Obscurities and Curiosities, and then his blend, the
Some
Express, which are trains.
Thompson Brothers doing have it, their redacted bros and stuff. Okay, cool. That's really awesome. And
Yeah.
for those of you who did the Advent calendar this year, we did actually a North Star Obscurities, I believe it was. It was the Campbelltown one. And that was
Nice.
something I had shipped over to add into our Advent calendar. It was really good too. So good stuff. Um,
Yeah.
there was one other question I had, and now I forget it. It'll come to me. But so where are we going to start? What are we doing tonight?
So we're starting with the second small batch release that I brought to the USA. It's Uncharted's Blue Collection. And if you could look at the bottles, and they're the same bottle, the labels look the same, but the green label is single cask or small batting. Like this small batch 8 year. And we call it the Blue Collection because we don't want to get sued by Johnny Walker for Blue Label. 8 years old, a vatting of 3 casks, and it's actually from the Aultmore distillery.
Yeah, Aultmore.
Yeah.
Are you on mute?
Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat room so you can take
With a little smoke.
So Aultmore is a Highland distillery, and this was there was 9 casks bought by Uncharted, Jack Breslin at Uncharted, and they tasted the 9 casks. They picked 3 that were ready to go. It was actually 9 years old when it was bottled. They had labels printed, and it turned 9 years old after the labels printed and before it was bottled. So it was definitely delayed in bottling. So technically, it's 9 years old, but the label says 8 years old, and this is 3 casks that. The second release is those other 6 casks after letting go. So it went from 640 bottles in their first batch to just over 1,200.
So Holly's not with us at the moment. Maybe she will join at some point. I know she's on the road, but she was one of the brand ambassadors or representatives from Bacardi here in the U.S., and Aultmore was one of her distilleries, and she always talked about how Aultmore was like the gem distillery that a lot of blenders would really cherish because
Yeah.
how great the spirit was. And so how easy or not easy is it to get casks of Aultmore and to create this batch? And how did you go about doing that? Like, does the batch
Yeah.
be blended with you over there, or did they send you samples of different blended batches, or how did that work?
So I didn't have choice in that. This is Jack Breslin of Uncharted's creation, and I always get samples of different casks. But your first question, Altmore, was always available, and quite a few casks have been dumped on the market in bulk spirits. So great pricing, which allows us to get this at a pretty good cost. I think it's on your shelf for $65
Yep,
or
65.
right around there.
Yep.
For a single malt 8 year, I think that's a pretty good deal, especially for three different casks. At 46%, Jack put it at 46% to prevent the clouding that can happen because it is not chill filtered. There's no color added on this one. But Altmore is very easy to obtain a cask, and it's a pretty cool thing for someone buying their first cask because you can get 8, 9, 10 year old for really low cost. An old refill cask. This is just a refill ex bourbon cask. There's no first fill cask, but you get a super. To me, this is very floral and very fruity on the nose and the palate for just a refill cask at that young age. But to buy a cask of Altmore and then re-rack it into some special oak first fill of any kind, that's a pretty cool experiment, and that's something that I've been doing. So 3, 4 more years, we'll have some casks, maybe under my label.
Nice. Definitely get the citrus notes. Lemon. There's lots of lemon. That's a kind of a typical Altmore note. And some vanilla, obviously. A lot of like kind of cakey notes too, like desserty notes to this as well. Kind of bright.
It's a very refreshing dram, I have to say.
Easy sipper. Definitely a great one to start with to get the palate kind of awakened.
Yeah. When I do events, if it's just single malts, I think this is a great way to start. So when I have the single grains, I typically go with single grains. I have some old single grains where I think this 8 year is a step up in flavor from a 25-year plus single grain. So for an 8-year refill bourbon cask single malt, I think this is really refreshing.
And they're making a name for themselves, aren't they? Uncharted. I mean, they're Uncharted. They're really starting to take off in the IB world.
Yeah, they got quite a cult following,
Yeah.
and he started off just doing single casks, and so many people wanted the product, he would buy 2 to 4 of the same cask and just bottle them. So they are all over Europe. They're in Asia. They were in Australia for a short period, I believe, but Asia and Europe, pretty easy markets to enter overall for IBs when you got great whiskey, great liquid. So they have a cult following. Some of the releases sell out within an hour of them going online. Example was Chain Pier. When that came out in May, that sold out within 1 hour in Scotland. I still have some here in the States. I could only get 5 cases of it though.
Yeah, we're doing a Scotland A to Z tasting, and when we got to Chain Pier, which was like a couple of tastings ago, I could not. I mean, it was too hard to get any juice, any sampling of Chain Pier. So we had to skip that distillery, which maybe someday we'll get to go back to it and try some of that. But pretty interesting. They're out of Leith, right? They're in right in Leith, where they were.
So they were, Bonington.
Right.
Well, it was an experimental distillery. As Bonington was being built, Chain Pier was this small pot still that the owners of Bonington put together, and they went through 38 different casks, different grains or different malts, different casks they put it into. And when they found the one they liked, they tore it down. They only operated for 5 weeks in 2018 or 2019, and that's it. That's all there is. Jack at Uncharted, he bought 3 of those casks.
Wow. Lucky guy.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, in terms of Uncharted going forward, like you're going to be bringing in lots of other releases from them, or are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a pretty good inventory of new products coming down.
Yeah, we have two new ones coming up. I'm not sure if I emailed you yet, but there are two Islas, two single cask Islas coming up.
Oh, nice.
And all the brands I work with, they have to send me samples first to taste. If I don't like it, if I don't think it's good, or if I don't think it's right for the American market, I don't bring it over.
Yeah.
Some things that I do are pre-sale only, but I taste everything except Uncharted. If Jack Breslin says it's good, I'm bringing it over because I know it's good.
Okay.
So everything he does, I bring over. Sometimes we buy gas together. Prime example is Aberlour. So under my brand, I'll be bottling an Aberlour 11 year finished in PX. He is as well. And so we're not competing with each other. Since I bought a cask and he did, I won't bring Uncharted over. But we have a 7-year Bonavent coming over. It's been maturing in a red wine cask, and then a really special 14-year Kailila and a Tokaji. I don't know if I said that right, cask. So those are the two new ones I have coming over from Jack.
Nice. Oh, we're looking forward to those. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
That's a really interesting concept, though, of splitting casks with an independent bottler over there, having their own brand, bottle it, or here. I get, or is it bottled over? It has to be bottled over there, right?
Yeah. To be Scotch, it's got to be bottled in Scotland. So
different labels and bottle shapes and all that for one cask. So pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it kind of plays into the next sample I want us to go through.
Okay.
If we're ready for that,
we are.
On the bottom right, we have Spey Oddity, and we have 3 Uncharted releases in this tasting. The last import I did for Christmas, the single malts were all unnamed casks. I was so excited for this one here. I think it's phenomenal. This is a unnamed Highland, and Spey Oddity. If you haven't caught on with some of the Uncharted releases, he names all his single malt releases or his green label releases after rock and roll songs. So anybody know who sings this song, Spey Oddity?
Little Bowie.
Yeah, I believe that's right. So this is a vatting of 2 casks. It is from the Mannochmore distillery. That is the distillery. It's a great distillery, makes great liquid. I don't believe they have a brand that I've seen anywhere in the USA. I think sometimes you see it from the big owners. But this is a Moscatel wine cask finish and then a Mezcal wine cask finish. And Charles, I don't know about you or anybody else, but I've never seen Mezcal used as a cask in anything but peated whiskey. So this is the first time I've seen Mezcal used in a non-peated whiskey. And I just think it's a funky, sweet, a little bit of spiciness that you think kind of counteracts, but sweet and spicy to me is what I really get in the palate here.
What's interesting about the Mezcal cask is that, I just got back from Oaxaca. They don't use casks. So, I guess, there are some experimental Mezcal producers that might age for a little bit. But it's pretty hard to find a Mezcal cask. None of the Mezcal is typically aged. So, I was curious about that. I actually have seen, I think, one before that had Mezcal, and I don't remember if it was peated or not, but I've only seen it, I think, once before. So it's pretty rare to get it to even have a chance. You'll find tequila finishes quite a bit because tequila is aged, or not all, but some tequila is aged. But Mezcal typically goes right into a glass jug or a clay pot, and that's it. You're gonna drink it just like that. So
yeah, it's a good question. There's not a lot of tequila casks from Mexico going to Scotland. So it's not a common thing for cooperages to get those kind of casks. And when I heard that, I just thought of Lagavulin's 2021 Jazz Festival release. It was a 13-year phenomenal, first ever tequila cask I'd ever tasted. So when I saw Mezcal or heard that, like, Never heard of that. I got to try it. Got to taste it. And I wonder if it's like the sherry industry where they put some mezcal in a cask just to age the oak to use it in scotch,
Yeah, I mean, that's
which could happen.
Yep, yep. I could see that being. I mean, when you do talk about mezcal, you are going to get a little bit of the smokiness from the roasting process that they do when they're making it, whereas tequila is a much cleaner, no smoke spirit. So, if they did want to add a little bit of a smoke note, even though if there is, it's very, very faint. I'm not getting a ton of it on this, but you would use mezcal versus tequila. So
Yeah.
Very tropical.
Yeah.
Getting like bananas and some caramel notes,
Mhm.
a little spice. It's interesting you said there's a Mannochmore. I just picked up a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society 17-year Mannochmore. Finished
Nice.
it started out in ex-bourbon, then it went to wine, sherry casks, two different types of sherry, PX and Oloroso, finished in red wine barrique. So Mannochmore must be doing that.
And you talk about a cult following, Jay. Mannochmore also has a cult following. Once people have had a few Mannochmores, that's what they look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the reason I bought it. When I looked up the code and it was a Mannochmore, I didn't even have to give it a thought.
Yeah, this is the second Mannochmore I brought over. I think you had the True Carragh 11-year
Yep.
Mannochmore on your shelf a while back, which was a second fill bourbon cask. But this one is, I don't know if it's similar to the Chain Pier in concept where I can't really put my finger on it, but the flavors are all over the place on my palate. People get different things as they drink whiskey, but this one is sweet and spicy depending on my mood overall.
Absolutely delicious.
Very good.
And the intent was or Jack tries to get as close to cask strength as possible from Uncharted, and he calls it true cask strength. So it may be in the cask around 58, but when you bottle a cask of whiskey, you typically would measure its ABV, pull it out, put it into a plastic tote so the ABV doesn't change, and then order your labels. They usually mark it down 1% because you're going to get some loss when it goes into the bottom line. You're going to get at least a percentage point loss. What I do with my brand is handwrite all ABV, but Jack orders labels and does it a bit professionally. He had to order another set of labels because he intended to do this at 55%, but it's actually 54%. So he couldn't use the first set of labels that he had, and he had to get new labels so it'd say 54% on it.
So, Charles, do you have this?
Yes, we do. Yep. We have a couple more of these. Yep.
And I'm very curious on what you don't have.
The one we don't actually have is the Park Life right now. Yeah.
Moves pretty quick.
Yeah.
Moves pretty quick.
I have a bottle of that. I got it for Christmas from a friend
Yeah.
who went
Nice.
to Charles and knows Charles and asked what I like to drink, and that's I
You
ended up-
celebrate all the holidays.
yeah. I have a very generous friend who, he does stuff like that all the time. He's my
Is there
podcast.
Park Life still available, Jay, or is that done?
I actually ordered more. So it was in such demand that Jack bought 2 more casks, the 20 and 22 year, and I'm bringing 5 more cases of each over. I have 1 case of each left, actually. So we could help you out.
Okay. We'll see how people like it. They're gonna hate it, so they probably won't.
Yeah, right.
It's good. It's excellent. I've already made quite a dent.
Awesome.
Anybody have any
Yeah.
comments on this Spey's Oddity in terms of flavor profiles? And I know Vinny chimed in, but anybody else want to chime in, or is this just going to be a Vinny and Jay show tonight?
Well, I really like the spice to this one. It's really, really kind of tasty in that regard. You get just that enough bite to really, really attract you to drink more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
Very craveable. Very craveable.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of funny. I had a customer 2 days ago reach out and was like, "Hey, do you have anything finished in tequila or mezcal right now?" And I was like, "Huh." I couldn't remember. I knew there was one, which was yours, and I did eventually search mezcal on our website, and it popped up. So he came in and bought one today, and he hasn't tried it. So we're down to 2 bottles left of this one. So we did do a tequila finished rye from Stauning in Denmark, which was pretty fantastic too. So
That's one of my favorite bottles. That Stoning finished in tequila. One of my favorite bottles that you guys had.
yeah, that was pretty special.
A Danish rye finished in tequila. All
Yeah,
right.
it was amazing.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
awesome.
All right.
Amazing.
Just amazing. It really is.
That sounds awesome.
All right, so are we gonna skip park life since it's Highland Park, or are we this little peat element, or are we gonna? What do you?
That
What do we do?
um
I know
I
it's
think we go through it still, but that's not the next one.
it's not the next.
No.
Oh,
We're gonna change brands. We're gonna go to sherry, finish,
oh,
sherry maturation, full maturation, and then we'll slowly go into the peated whiskey, but declining in age.
okay.
And so I want to call out the next one, Tamnavulin 12-year from Carragh. And pretty cool guys, Carragh, Ryan and Ola started this. They were at a cask broker called Cask 88, which went insolvency. And they left long before that when they saw things they didn't like. But they started buying casks, and this one actually won a double gold at CMB out of Mexico, Charles,
Nice.
a year after they released it. So it's a really, really rich sherry finish, Tamnavulin, which is the brand that is on the shelves in some states, but it's not a well-known distillery. But a Speyside finished in first fill PX, and I had someone leave me a review. My wife absolutely loved it. Thought it was amazing. It was way too sweet for me, and he gave me 1 star on it. So I think this is a interesting step into sherry. It's a double gold medal winner. And I think there's only one when you go to CMB, the award ceremony out of Mexico City. There's 1 double gold per category, and this one got it in 2025.
And Carragh has been doing really, really well as also as
Yeah.
I mean, another cult following kind of situation.
I got a little news on that too.
I remember being at the Independent Spirits Festival last year, and Carragh was definitely being talked about a lot. They were hot. So
Yeah. I think 80% of their releases have won awards. If I'm doing my math right.
yeah,
And they release in 3 cask batches. I think they're up to their 9th. So they've had 27 single cask strength releases that I know of, and this one was release number 4. So they're moving pretty good. And what they do is they send all their products to the award ceremonies. Ryan has been mentored by some big shots in the indie bottler game, and real good guy. It's a funny how we met is how I've met all but one of my indie bottlers is, hey man, can I talk to you? Sure. I think you'd like my whiskey. I want to send you some samples. It's like, okay, send it over. And I picked one. I said, well, we'll send you 3, and then you just pay us if and when they sell. And they sold. So that's how I met this brand. Anyone dealing in Scotch whiskey, Charles, I know you know this, but the industry is built on trust, not contract agreements. It's built on handshakes and trust. And if you break that trust within the industry, everyone finds out fast, and no one will do business with you. So that's how I built the WhiskeyLab, is essentially on trust. And this was the second, or this was in my first import from them. I think I have a case left of this, and yeah, I think it's super rich, super sweet. It's a nice entry into PX cask finish. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Is it too sweet? Is it on the spot? It's quite different from the previous strand we just had.
I think it has a nice balance between that spicy and sweet. That's what I'm getting. It's a very nice balance. On the nose, you don't get as much sherry as you do on the palate.
Yeah, I was going to say the sherry's pretty subtle. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, it's earthy on the nose, more earthy than that. But you're still getting that subtle dried fruit note that you get, and that's definitely evident on the palate. And it's got and the spiciness builds on the finish. Starts out as sweet, and it finishes with that spicy note. So it's very, very nice.
I'm definitely getting like on the nose, like a ripe strawberry kind of thing going on here. And some like little bit of orange and chocolate kind of ganache kind of notes.
You are amazing with your tasting notes, Charles. I'm very much a caveman savage when I come to my tasting notes. So
I
my
mean,
wife helps me out when I'm writing them.
it definitely has a lot of sweetness. There's no question about
Yeah.
it. But it's not overpowering. Like the finish, it kind of lingers. It doesn't, overwhelm you. It's kind of goes away subtly. Even at a pretty high ABV at 56.8. Yeah, it's really balanced. Like Vinny said, it's a very, very nicely balanced cask.
I think it drinks below its proof overall. I wouldn't think this is 50,
14
almost
hops
57%.
too. Only 300.
I thought the last one punched above its proof, and this one is, you're right, it's a little tamer tasting.
It's got like some a little bit of a delicacy to it. It's silkier, even though
Dessert.
yeah, more desserty.
Very much, very much.
But Mannochmore is not known for dessert, soft, subtle. So what we had before this was, more bold and kind of in your face, where Tamnavulin has definitely kind of brought it back a little bit. And the sherry will bring it back too. I mean, sherry is known to tame casks quite a bit. So
Yeah, yeah.
got a beautiful spirit.
Now, going from this Spey Oddity Mannochmore to the Tamnavulin, same age, would you say on your palate, was it more intense on the flavor profile overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mannochmore there was a lot going on, and I think it might have gotten a little confusing with the different cast types that were used in that blend, but they worked. It wasn't that they didn't work, but this one is much more kind of straightforward in terms of, this is what it is. Whereas with the Mannochmore, you were kind of going back and forth between different thoughts, and it kind of evolved as you sipped it. This one is like from the beginning to the end, it's pretty much the same thing, but in a really good way, a balanced way.
Yeah, this is the way I like my sherry. I don't like the sherry bombs. I used to, but like overpowered with sherry. This is, it's there, it's subtle, brings tons of flavor. This is very good.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I might put you on mute for the next one though, Chad, if you don't like sherry bombs.
Wow. I like them all, but
I got you. I'm kidding, man.
I used to lean the sherry bombs.
He'll dilute it with some Tamnavulin.
There you go. Yeah, and if you didn't see by the color, the next one I did want to dive into is the Glaschu spirits, which is an interesting story.
Yeah, so they're kind of new to the scene in a way, right? I mean, we haven't. I mean, besides you obviously bringing them here, I don't remember even seeing a lot of that when I was over in Scotland.
Yeah.
So, what's the deal with them? When did they start? And like, they're out of Glasgow, is that right? Or where are they out of?
Yeah. So Glaschu, that's Gaelic, Scots Gaelic for Glasgow. That's the old ancient name.
All right.
And they are out of Glasgow. Couple young guys. Paul is the guy I met in May. I've been married for 5 years now, but I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my wife and I took our honeymoon this past May. We delayed it. And while we were over there, this guy, Paul, heard I was in town and just sent me a text. He got my number somehow. It happens. He asked me to have coffee, and he showed up with one of his bottles that had a submarine on it. And so me being a former Submariner, he kind of talked his way. I loved the whiskey. But there's a couple young guys that tried to start a online spirit store for indie bottlers called Damn Good Drams. They bought some casks. So the company is Damn Good Drams, and then the brand is Glaschu Spirits.
Yeah.
And what they do is single casks. They put all their info on the neck label, and they do an Art Deco label where this one has an old race car on it. And the story behind this is it's a Le Mans race car from the 1950s that won Le Mans, also Formula One back then, the same car. And this release is from Glenallachie, fully matured from day one in first fill Pedro Ximenez, and it was bottled at 56%, not cast strength, but pretty close to it. So it's a couple young guys, Paul and Jameson, and Jameson works out of Asia, Paul works out of Scotland, and they kind of, it looks like, my impression is not that they mimicked Uncharted, but they saw I was working and kind of, I don't think ride the coattails is right, but learned a lot from Jack, bought some casks from Jack Breslin at Uncharted, and then really made an impact on the scene with their cool labels, their great releases, some only 30 bottles, like something from an octave, and the really, really nice guys who are hungry. They're trying to build business. They're trying to build a brand. And they release great products at great prices. Another one that reached out and said, hey, here are 4. I said, well, I'll take 2. And they're like, well, we'll give you all 4. If they sell, you can pay us then. And that's just what happened.
So you said one was in Scotland, and where is the other one?
He's over in Southeast Asia and Bali, actually. He moves around there, but they own properties in Bali and then they sell in Asia as well. But this is very much what I would consider a sherry bomb. And it's kind of got it's special to me in that I bought the sister cask distilled on the same day. My Whisper and Waters Glenallachie, fully matured and first for Oloroso, but bottled at cask strength, where you have the sister cask fully matured and first fill Pedro Ximenez. So with tastings, I like to compare side by side. Here's 2 whiskeys, same distillery, same age, distilled on the same day, different cask maturations. What do you like? That's something I do overall. So that's why I brought this over. I think it's phenomenal. I hate to say it, but I do think it's slightly better than my brand's First Fill Oloroso, or I personally like it a little bit more. But 56% sherry bomb. I don't think adding water helps this one out at all. I think it's right where it needs to be.
That is a sherry bomb.
Definitely a Glenallachie.
Yeah, very much so.
It's
Very much so.
classic, makes your mouth shrivel a little bit. It's got so much kind of red dried fruit in there, and really, really makes you pucker in a way.
Yeah. I would typically leave this for the last one, but we're stepping into peated whiskey next. So
yeah.
I think this is the peak of the non-peated single malts that we're going through.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love Glenallachie? I mean, they make some just fantastic spirit, and talk about use of barrels and maturation. I mean, they do everything. So this is more of the classic. I mean, it is the PX, but it's still kind of in their classic profile. Really, really solid.
Yeah.
Like the Glenallachie 10 cast strength.
Super long finish on this to me. Very rich.
Look at how it sticks to the glass too. Oh my God. It's just like syrup. You could pour this over your pancakes and have a nice morning, I think.
Yeah, really interesting artwork. Overall, on the back of the bottle, they tell the story of the artwork, and it's always pertains to the location, Spey side, or something close to the distillery. And I think this one here with the race car on it had to do with the shop where the car was built, being close to Glenallachie.
Anybody have
Yeah.
any thoughts on this one? So far we've done 4 Speysides in a row. Aultmore,
I just
Mannochmore,
realized that.
Tamnavulin, and Glenallachie. Pretty wild. We haven't done a Speyside tasting in a while where it's 4 in a row. That's pretty, I mean, and they've all been in that kind of profile that you would expect from Speyside as well. You have the kind of bright, citrusy, floral. Now we're into the sherry, bomb, Abelauer world, Glenallachie world, Macallan a little bit, but you know, getting into that, they have their 2-headed beast in the Speyside there. So, yeah, no, this is fun. This is a really good one. I like this a lot.
Yep.
Yeah,
This is great. High marks. You're getting all of that stuff. Lots going on here.
definitely
I'm just
good for the
curious,
winter.
before we move into the other drams, since these are 4 Speyside distilleries, just kind of a show in the room. You can just raise your hand. We won't go through everybody's square tonight, but we'll just do your favorite of the 4. So I'll go through them. Just raise your hand if you liked it as your favorite. So we'll do
That's a tough one, Charles.
I know. I'm sorry. We'll start with the Aultmore. Anybody have that as their favorite? No? Okay. Simple, clean, great entry kind of approach to getting into Scotch. Would be fun to have on your shelf if you had people over, or if you did want just a nice sipper that you didn't want to, you know, have to think too hard about. I think it's a great dram. All right, what about the what do we do next? The Mannochmore, Mezcal and Muscatel. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 or 6 people. That's pretty good. Nick was somewhere there. He raised his hand. Your head looks very small, Nick. Normally your head with a screen. You're just a little dot tonight. All right, what about the Tamnavulin? Again, we're out. Chad voted twice. Okay, that doesn't work. All right, that's about even. And what about this last one, the Glenallachie? Anybody? A few. All right. So pretty balanced. That's good. That's a good showing. That's what we like to see. Some favorites. I didn't tell you what my favorite was, but I won't. So that's how we'll roll.
What?
Actually, I think it was the Tamnavulin one, Chad, just to make you happy.
I was gonna say Jay had a favorite.
Yeah, what was your favorite, Jay? Probably
The what?
Glenallachie, or you don't like that because it beat out your sister?
No, I love it. It's not about keeping score in that aspect, but I just think the Spey Oddity is.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it'll be recreated.
Yeah.
And so I like the uniqueness of it because you cannot recreate that. It's just that's how it is.
I was gonna say they have a cat or a batch blend of mezcal and muscatel. I mean that's like a 0.01% kind of thing. So that's
Yeah. We got some hands up. Are those for questions or was that voting?
Any questions? Anybody?
I was voting.
Okay.
Voting. All right.
Cool. Now I have a preference on moving next, and we'd actually be starting old to young. But what do you think, Charles? I know you've tried these. If you had a choice, what would you do next?
I mean, I would do the 20-year. But what I would suggest though is that people definitely drink some water, maybe chew on a cracker or something just to cleanse your palate, because we're going from a very bold sherry bomb to a mature, delicate, lighter spirit. Let's put it that way. Yeah, look at that, Elmer Fudd. So water is your friend before we try this next one for sure. So we will go to the Park Life. Is that right?
That's right.
Back to
That's
Uncharted.
Right. Back to Uncharted.
Hey, I have a question. I was on social media today looking at some stuff, and I actually shared this with Holly, who I think is driving right now, but she's on with us, but I think she's just listening. There was a bourbon brand, and again, I didn't look too deep into it. I know Holly kind of looked into it a little bit, but it was called Uncharted.
Yeah, it's
So
an issue.
what's the deal there? Do you know anything about that, or what's going on in that world in terms of like,
I know everything about that, and
Oh,
I'll say, wait till the Whiskey Lab Part 4, and I'll give an update.
ah,
The lawyers are talking.
I mean, it's the same name.
It is the same name. It is the same name. So Jack, Uncharted Whiskey's been in the USA since 2021, and my first imports was actually in 2024 before that company existed.
Okay.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So you're involved in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I know you're an importer, but you're not unchartered, or uncharted. But I get it. You have to protect your space. Interesting. All right.
Yes, it's an interesting company though. It's the product overall I've never seen it. It's relatively new. They're not a distillery, but they buy casks and they age it on a barge in a river, and
in the U.S.
that's in the USA, yeah, in Mississippi,
River.
I believe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Nothing is unbelievable these days. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to a 20-year-old Scotch. How about that? Forget this uncharted riverboat thing.
So yeah, Uncharted Whiskey Co. started in 2020 by Jack Breslin and his partner Donna, and they, similar to my story with why I created the Whiskey Lab. Jack had been in the industry for a long time, and he used to be part owner of a shop. And then in COVID, they owned some casks, and they said, why don't we just try creating our brand? And the whole idea is finding distilleries and styles that haven't been put on the map overall, not big brands. They're not focused on big brands. But here we have the big brand. This is Highland Park. The cask actually on the delivery order said you can't use that name. Highland Park doesn't let anyone who owns their cask use Highland Park on the label. Usually it's Orkney Island, but this DO, you couldn't even say Orkney Island.
Huh.
And so Jack labeled this Park Life. There's 2 releases. This is the 20-year. And if you think of the big brand, Highland Park, they have a 21-year. That's $350 to $500 if you see it. And Charles, what's this one on the shelf for?
So we did sell out of it, so I don't remember. It's not pulling up on I could look it up in my system, but it's not right.
It's filled out when I looked it up.
I think I paid 160.
Yeah, it's around 160, something like that.
So we have a 20-year single cask Highland Park at 55%. That is half the price of the big brand, who's almost the same age.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of indie bottlers, and specifically Uncharted Whiskey Co. This is an old refill bourbon cask, sat the entire time and matured in that refill bourbon cask, where their 22-year was a refill sherry cask. Not a lot of difference in color, slight difference in taste overall. But when I
$139.99. So it was
I got a deal.
It was.
Yeah.
I tell you, I didn't know till now how much it cost because I got it as a gift. But I'm going to tell you, I feel very fortunate to have this one. But it's for me in the dangerous category because when I get started with this, it's never just 1 or 2. I have to put the bottle back on the shelf, or I'll keep pouring it. Very easy sipper, and actually with a nice cigar, this is perfect.
Yeah, so I've been to Highland Park a couple of times, and when you go up there and you see what they have on their shelves, their single cask releases, I mean, you're talking big bucks. If there was a 20-year single cask release on their shelf, it would be 400, if not more dollars. So $140 for a 20-year Highland Park is pretty ridiculous. Now, what was the reason why you couldn't use Orkney? Like, because we see a lot of like Orkney's Finest.
Yeah. It literally just a delivery order. That was the rules in the delivery order. So
interesting.
when you buy a cask, a lot of laws in Scotland how cask buying works, but the warehouse that houses the cask, the registration, who the owner of the cask is in that warehouse, that is who legally owns the cask.
Okay.
A brand or a company or a broker that issues you a certificate of ownership technically means nothing if the Wauger registered warehouse doesn't change ownership. Then that's what determines who owns the cask. So the industry uses delivery orders where cask brokers or traders will, here's my delivery order, this piece of paper that says I sold this cask, I'm no longer the owner, this person is the owner. And on those delivery orders, sometimes they have distinct rules. You can't do this, you can't do this, and that comes from possibly the distillery who sold it to the first buyer. So on this delivery order, you can't use Orkney Island, you can't use Highland Park, you can't say that. Can't publish anything that says the brand's name.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, this is pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Again, Highland Park is not something that is inexpensive by any means. So you said you still have like a case of this, possibly? Right.
Yes, we can absolutely take care of
it. In this, just send us an email and we can figure that out. But at the moment, we don't have this one on our shelf. So, but if Jay says we can get some more, then maybe we will have some more. So we'll figure it out.
I recommend it. I own this bottle, and it is an easy reach after work. Like it is, like Vinny said, it is a great dram.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll keep that case off the shelf for no one else, and I'll give you guys a week to let me know. Okay.
It's slowly becoming my go-to, this one.
I mean, what's kind of fun is, actually we have one person online tonight, good friends with my friend Shalom Sivash, and he knows that the Highland Park 18 was like one of the original whiskeys that we all fell in love with, and was just this amazing whiskey, and then it slowly started creeping in price, and now it's just like ridiculous how expensive just the regular Highland Park 18 is. So here we're drinking a 20-year single cask for $140. I mean,
yeah, I got about half a bottle of Highland 18 left.
Yeah, that's
Charles, thanks for the call out. I was thinking I have some, like Vinny, I have about half a bottle of just the standard HP 18.
Yeah.
And I still have the cask strength one that we picked up there.
Yeah.
And it was on that trip with you in 2019. I'm nursing this thing along as I can, but already, what is that, 7 years ago? That was $300.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's how crazy expensive it was 7 years ago. So
yeah.
And I get that heather that they kept talking about there. That comes through a little bit in this.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay, you said these are rock songs. I'm not placing Park Light.
I thought it was Blur.
So what Ashley Holly mentioned in the chat room here, because she's driving, how does this compare to the older release, the 22-year?
Yeah, I found that 22-year, almost the same price overall. That was matured fully in a refill sherry, not bourbon cask.
Okay.
And so I expected sherry influence. It's slight. I think it's a little sweeter, but I found that the single malt lovers tend to go for the 20-year over the 22-year.
Okay.
But they're very close, very, very close. A little sweeter. Depending on the night, I'll go back and forth. I went through, my wife and I went through 2 bottles of this already, and it landed December 10th, I think. So.
All right. Well, I can pretty much tell you right now, Jay, that we will probably take that case. So
Okay.
Holly can agree with that when she gets here tomorrow, and we'll let you know. But we've already got some people reaching out. So yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be coming to New York pretty soon.
Yeah.
Um,
And Chad, it was Blur's 94 album. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm right with you.
I mean, and now it's like, I know I'm gonna have a steak dinner on Saturday. This is when I'm thinking steak dinner. You know, it's a good way to finish a meal because it's not too heavy, but you want a nice scotch after a good steak.
Yeah, they literally arrived. And if anyone's in the New York City area, they arrived at both locations of Flatiron Room, both releases of this last week.
I ran out of water. I need more water. There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, my brother would be all over this. He's coming up this weekend. And
All right.
definitely.
I at the bottom.
So where are we going next, Jay? We're going to do the young one or the older one?
I think the young one's going to be our last. I
Okay.
think it's a little more intense in flavor.
Okay.
And what we have, God, my light is blurring. Oh, there's the camera. There we go. So this is actually Tobermory, the distillery, their peated release, which is known as Ledaig. Or as I used to say before someone corrected me, maybe Holly herself, I used to say Ledaig, but it's pronounced Ledaig. But if you're an indie bottler, you can't put Ledaig on your bottle. You could say distill it Tobermory, but the cask on the delivery order, another issue here, you had to call it Pealiach. So Peallach. And so when they were marketing this, they were saying it's Pealiach, but on the neck it says distilled Tobermory. It's a peated release. So Tobermory has their non-peated brand Tobermory and their peated brand Ledaig. And this one, it's only 50% ABV. I thought it was higher when I had it. Overall, just I thought super intense. I thought it would have been cast strength, but this was in a PX. Which I was hoping to learn actually from Holly because I believe she went over to Spain and did some sherry training. But it's a Ximenez Spinola,
Yeah.
Pedro Ximenez, and I'm very curious to learn from someone who's been there what that actually means. I mean, with this one,
yeah, I haven't been yet, but we've been working on this Spain trip that we're doing this October with the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, and just a little bit that I've kind of found out and it's that Jimenez Spinola is one of the producers, one of the bodegas in Spain that the SMWS works with quite a bit. So they're maturing or finishing whatever quite a bit of their whiskey with Jimenez Spinola, but they're one of the, I think, more sought after bodegas in Jerez. So
yeah, and that's the PX cask brand that I got for my Aberlour that's coming up here pretty soon. But I initially said no to this. I said I'm not buying that, and I enjoyed it. I just didn't think people knew the brand. And wake up call to me because I have one 3-pack left. That's it. It sold very fast, very fast.
this
And
one,
this is
this particular expression, yeah, nice.
Yeah, this one here, there's 3 bottles left in my inventory, and this is one that I use a wood cap because I think it's a bit more peated than what we just had. So I think it's a step up in intensity of the peatiness, but that PX really balances it out.
I mean, I don't find it overwhelming. The peat is well balanced. It's almost like a campfire, almost a meaty smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah, like when you're
savory.
grilling some meat and you just take a bite of that grilled meat right off the barbecue. That's what you get. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Very chewy, very chewy.
Yeah, I mean, Ledaig is very known for being kind of I mean, there is definitely some of that barbecue note that you're talking about, but it definitely has an ashy note, but it doesn't have the medicinal iodine note that you get from Isla. It's more of a savory, I mean, if you want to call it umami kind of peat, that's kind of what Ledaig is known for. You know, you get a little bit of salinity, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah, that's why I said campfire. It's that ashiness
Yep. Yep.
that you
There's
get.
definitely ashiness there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of Ledaig and Belekin. To me, this one tastes a lot like, am I pronouncing it right? Belekin, the Edgedour peated version.
Yep.
Like there's almost a funkiness with this than some of the other Ledaigs I have.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's an earthiness to it that you might not get as being a coastal. You know, typically coastals will have more of that brininess or salinity kind of notes. But Ledaig, you know, in general, it's more of a richer kind of meatier peat. You know, it's not something that's too salty. It's more ashy, but it still has some coastal characteristic, but not a lot. Even though they're on an island and they're
Love
surrounded.
it.
This is to the top of my list. It's like, and I don't even have a Ledaig. And
What are you waiting for?
What happened? I know. I got 350 bottles. I might as well add that.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
You know, from a business ops perspective in the industry, Ledaig is not something I've seen at all. So to get a cask of this, I thought was pretty cool. That the boys at Glaschu did pretty well sourcing this, and I think they did a really good job finishing it for a year in this cask overall.
Chad,
But
what are some of the Ledaigs that you're like the Ledaig man? So what are some of the Ledaig IBs that you've had in the past?
I've got a Black Adder that I really like. Infrequent Flyers, I think, does a lot of Ledaig. I really like their stuff. What else do I have here? I got a bunch of their own bottlings, and then I own this bottle. So I bought another one tonight, so I own two of these bottles.
there you go.
You are whenever there's a new Ledaig that comes in, we
I buy it unseen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Ted, so what do you of all the Ledaig you've had, is there a particular cask finish that you enjoyed the most?
Ooh.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, that is tough. I wouldn't call one out, but I tend to like, with my smoke, a light sherry finish.
Yeah.
To me, sherry and smoke are hard to beat, but not like cherry bomb with smoke. Just like a second fill with the smoke.
Hey, how about hey Sivash, do you remember, again going back 7 years, when we went to Tobermory? I was there since then, but my brain doesn't remember all these things anymore. Do you remember there were some pretty special Ledaigs when we were there, right?
I actually had to look it up. I had picked up, it's gone now, but it was a Ledaig 21 with a ruby port pipe finish, and it was fantastic. That was one of the best bottles I picked up there. And the funny story was, the whole distillery was under construction. The shop was closed when we did the tasting at the end of the day, and the guy's like, okay, if you want to pick anything up, and he said, oh, sorry, the shop is closed. So we all lined up in the morning at like 9 o'clock or something, before we had to go catch a ferry or something. There was this whole itinerary between the Charles and Holly did. We had to line up in front of the shop. They opened it for us and I picked this up. It was unbelievable. So the Ledaig smoke with some port, I think, is a fantastic combination. So Chad, if you already have hundreds of Ledaigs, get that one too.
Yeah, you are right. Port and smoke as well. Port and Ledaig. Agreed.
Yeah.
Ruby.
Port
Yeah,
with some smoke.
I have a Kilhoman finished in white port, and that's really good.
And there's
And then-
always some great Bunnahabhain with
Yeah,
too. Yeah, good stuff.
and that was I picked up at the distillery when I went on a trip to Iowa with Charles.
Mm.
That was
Very cool.
12. What did we do? 10 or 12 distilleries? Ooh,
A couple. We did a couple.
just a couple.
The only thing I'll say about this one is that I mean, it's excellent so far. Everything has been. This one had a bit of a shorter finish than I expected, though. It kind of drops off way faster. The sweetness goes away pretty quickly. The smoke lingers, but it's still very nice. Don't get me wrong. But I was expecting a lingering finish like some of the other ones that we had.
Maybe part of that's because it's 50% ABV, so we've dropped a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. It's almost like the smoke covers up the finish a little bit.
Yeah.
I still have the ashiness, but I don't have the sweetness anymore.
Mhm.
And the sweetness is super upfront, and then it disappears pretty quick. But still pretty solid 10.
Yeah, it's a great dram. So
10 years. Like we're talking fairly young in the Scotch world. It actually is pretty well balanced.
Just a quick barrel clarification, Jay. You said it was first fill bourbon, and then the Glaschu folks did the finish for 1 year before you got it. Is that what it was?
They did the finish for 1 year. I'm not sure. I doubt it was first fill bourbon. It's probably refill bourbon, and then they put it in this first fill PX Spinola cask.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's coming from another fellow Submariner, just so you know.
Hey, who said that? Say that again. That
Hey, how's it going, man? Jeff, yeah. Asheville out of Guam, and then Shift Eng 1 at HE. So there you go.
OKC out of Guam.
Okay, wait, what years though?
I was there in 2015.
A little before me. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I knew a bunch of guys on that boat, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
My nephew almost ended up in submarines, but he got his assignment. He's a Navy pilot. He went to
The
RPI.
dream.
Yeah, he went to RPI.
The dream.
Finished top of his class. He's executive officer, and he got the Navy pilot. He reports to Pensacola when he graduates.
The
I watched
dream.
him go in submarines. That was choice 2.
Nice.
Like polar opposites. Wow.
I know he's going to be doing F-18 growlers.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Good for
Do I
him.
get any credit for being an Army guy that lives south of Kings Bay?
Hey, where are you?
I'm in
Jacksonville?
Frontier Beach. I'm just in Florida, just right across from the river. We see those subs come out and go all the time.
Yeah.
And I got friends that serve time up there, and the submarine stories are kind of unbelievable. I can't believe that you guys did all that stuff.
Good times. Can't talk about it. For
Well,
8
I
more
didn't
years.
ask.
Yeah.
He tells me things that I'd ask you in private.
Right.
Neither did my nephew. He was on the Oklahoma. That's all he could tell me when he was doing his cruises.
He did the Oklahoma City?
He was on the Oklahoma, and he actually volunteered to cook because he's a very good cook and a baker.
What year was this?
2 years ago.
Okay.
He got a belt buckle
Okay.
for the Oklahoma, so that's the only way I know he was on it.
Really cool. Very cool.
So Jay could tell you a lot of things if you buy a cask from him, but
Yeah. Some pretty cool stories. This book, God, it's slipping my mind. It was just there. There's a book.
It's Blind Man's Bluff.
Yeah, thank you. You know that. Blind Man's Bluff. Some sailors went to prison actually for the stories released in Blind Man's Bluff.
It is a publicly available piece of literature that I will not comment on, and I also imagine Jay will not comment on.
That's right. We'll talk about Tom Clancy being investigated by the FBI for being so accurate in his Hunt for Red October that was the early 80s when no one knew about the LA class. But yeah, that's another story, another time.
this is all recorded, right? So just saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't say nothing.
Nothing was said. It's like a bunch of Sicilians in a room. You talk, but nothing is said.
Yeah, Blind Man's Bluff. It's a pretty cool book. Really cool stories in that overall. But
All right,
so we're on to number 7.
we're gonna go to some incredible distillery on a really random peninsula on the west coast of Scotland. That's really hard to get to. Mike knows that firsthand. He was
One of my favorites.
He was with me a few months ago. But yeah, we're gonna head to Ardnamurchan to do our last dram of the night. It happens to be. I'm gonna put it out there. It definitely is one of my favorite distilleries now in Scotland because of what they're doing there and the fact that they're so young, but at the same time so incredible. Excited for their future for sure.
I think it makes sense because I believe everyone who knows indie bottlers has heard of the Adelphi collection.
Yep.
That's who built and started Ardnamurchan Distillery, the creator of Adelphi.
Got a couple of their bottles. Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, that was the best tasting we've had on that entire trip, Charles.
Yeah.
I mean, we could still be there drinking if we would allowed it. I mean, we hit all of them, all the warehouses and all the stuff. It was so fantastic. What a great host he was.
He was pulling out of every cask he could. So.
Oh, what do you want to do next? Let's try this one. Okay. So it was great.
Picked up an Inchgour Adelphi at the Independent Whiskey Festival last year.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's fantastic.
It's a good one.
That is my favorite distillery, Inchgour. I love those.
Me too. I'm like all over Inchgour.
Yeah.
And when I was in Edinburgh, I went to a cigar bar, and when I was talking to the guy, he said, "I'm going to comp you your drinks." He put the flora and fauna on the table. It's a half a bottle left. My brother and I finished it. He comped us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Easy day.
You do look like mafia, I guess.
Well, we just paid for the cigars, but he kept picking my brain about it. I want to sell American whiskey. What should I charge for bourbon? So the guy spent a half an hour of my time, almost an hour and a half of my time, and I'm smoking a cigar, and he said, "I'm going to comp you all your drinks." So we just paid for the cigars.
I know.
There you go.
I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm that one. When Vinny goes to a place, my brother is like, everybody knows Vinny. I walk down Broadway in Saratoga. People I don't even know me.
I'm glad I'm not you, Vinny.
So I think with the last one and this one in particular, a little more heavily peated, or at least it tastes like that to me, more flavor. But it's also on a higher ABV. This one's at 55%. And I think I showed this earlier, but I have a US Navy cap that I use with this oak one. And Jeff, if you're still here, on Charles' next order, I'll send up a cap for you. You just go pick it up in the store.
Hey man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll send it up there.
One dolphin to another.
There we go. I want to call out a couple things. So they have different artwork for all their labels. It's always Art Deco with the story. This was a biplane, the Tobermory, that is, I believe you can still see that on the island at their airport. They have a very small airport. This is a jet-powered speedboat that was built in 1949. It's crazy to think that. But in America, young scotches or young whiskeys don't always sell. So I asked them to not put the age statement on here. And I think that's something that Scotch drinkers know well, that Ardnamurchan, being younger, the age doesn't always matter. It's just phenomenal. But this is 5 years old. And so I said, hey guys, if you're going to send it stateside, don't put the 5 year on the front label, the big 5. I think it'd be easier to sell for someone putting it on their shelf because they're going to taste it and not have that impression, oh, it's too young for a Scotch. This is not too young. I think this is a phenomenal single malt. And then Ardnamurchan, they do a little bit of everything, but what the guys told me is that peated Ardnamurchan is not the norm. They do far more unpeated. So here we have a peated Ardnamurchan that was fully matured in Oloroso. And this was first fill Oloroso. So from day one, it was put in the cask. It's Oloroso. So more sherry influence in that 1 year finish from the Tobermory or the Ledaig. But I really love this, and this sold faster than any bottle I brought over. And this was another one. I said, it's young. I don't think it'll sell. I'm completely wrong. This was the fastest selling product I've ever imported. I don't know if the label. I doubt the label mattered, but there's a kind of a cult following behind Ardnamurchan with their awesome releases, especially single cask. But what do you think, Charles?
I have a question
Hit
on
me.
this. So is this cask not available in other markets, or is this just a US only thing?
No, it was available. They
So
sent
you
5K.
were able to tell them not to put the age statement on it for like
Yeah.
other markets, like for.
No. It says 5 years everywhere
Oh,
else,
no,
but
I
I said,
know, but
hey,
it doesn't have the big five on it like
correct.
the other ones do. So they were like, I mean, I'm just trying to like wrap my head around that.
They printed new labels for this import.
Right. Oh, so just for the import to the
Yep.
US?
Yep, just for the USA.
Got it.
Yeah.
So do their
It's a-
labels to other countries have the 5 on it, or is that
everywhere else. Everywhere else.
okay? All right.
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
question. That's pretty wild that they would do that. I mean,
And these guys, Paul and Jameson, are hungry. They are go-getters. They try to sell. They're trying to expand, and they're really building the brand. And so they said, "Hey Jay, I want to get to America. How can we make this happen?" I said, "Well, if you want me to take this, don't put an age on it."
wow. All right, good for you. That's
Is it on the label somewhere else, or is it just not prominent?
It says when it was distilled. So on the neck label, it says distilled in November 2019 and bottled July 2025.
right. Which is totally fine. I mean, a lot of single cask IBs, that's all you get. They don't actually have a number on there, and people can do math. They can figure that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good. I like this one. I'm not a humongous Oloroso fan in general, but again, with some smoke, it kind of works. And being Ardnamurchan, it tastes really good. So,
Yeah.
and you would never guess that this is a 5-year-old single malt. I mean,
No, you wouldn't.
Exactly.
but if you put
I think the label would mentally shift people's opinion of this when they drink it.
yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
It's
I think the Scotch is good, but I think the way they do the labels is fantastic. Having all these different old Le Mans, race cars and biplanes and all that. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing, and it's got a lot of color to it. It's what attracts you to that whiskey itself.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Mike, when it's on the shelf, all 3 of these or 4 of them
Yeah,
each other, it's beautiful. I mean, it's like artwork that
Yep.
really
Yep.
stands out. I wish
it
more
really is.
I wish more brands would think about that, because it seems like a lot don't really care so much about that side of it. But yeah, no, kudos for them for doing that.
Hey,
Charles?
Charles, since we're talking about how young everything is, do you remember when we were at Ardnamurchan, they actually didn't have Scotch because nothing was old enough?
I know.
And
That
you
was
picked up that bottle of distilled spirit or whatever it was called.
Yeah. So they had I brought back it was called a warehouse whiskey. Like, it wasn't Scotch because it was like 2.5 years old. This was in 2019, and I remember we tasted it with the club. Actually, we did a tasting when I got back, and it was amazing. I mean, I remember we tasted some when we were there then too, and it was really good. But their stuff, it doesn't matter if it's even 3 years old. It's kind of like some of these super young Bruichladdich expressions, like some of the Aultmore stuff that's 3 years old. That's just amazing. It's kind of a similar kind of category of really well-made whiskey, which is really fun. But
I'm still here. I just heard another Submariner, so I got to grab another bottle.
oh no,
So Glaschu had 4 releases that we brought over last year in October. We had 3 of them tonight. The 4th was how they won me. And so to the Submariners here.
A yellow submarine.
It's an actually true story. In the 60s, a guy named Dan Taller retired from the Navy. He was a submariner. He moved to Scotland. He built a submarine, a functional submarine, and sailed in Loch Ness and said he was going to go find the Loch Ness monster. So that's the story of that release from.
Hey, Charles, two questions for you. Well, 2 things. One, you did this. 2, could you just speak a little bit more on Ardnamurchan? I mean, it sounds like it's a West Coast, like it would be considered a West Coast Scotch distillery. You know, what's their kind of just a little bit of the background, and how is a distillery that's so new and so young putting out such really good stuff? Like, you know, is there some master distiller from somewhere else that went there, kind of thing? That's what I was curious about.
I mean, not necessarily that case. It's just you know what, a lot of these newer distilleries, and not just Ardnamurchan, but we look at a lot of these new ones like Raasay and Holyrood, even in Edinburgh. They all are approaching Scotch whiskey with kind of a whole new vision and kind of long-term kind of goal or you know, mission plan, whatever you want to call it. But it's to kind of break away from some of the old traditional ways of making whiskey, and some of that comes back to sustainability and where they're getting their grain from, and fermentation, which is something that's often overlooked in whiskey production. So Ardnamurchan, you know, not only are they one of like the few distilleries that is completely sustainable, and they're using this biomass, you know, plant to fuel their stills and all of these things. They're using grain that they work with a certain farm out in the Aberdeenshire area. And, you know, so they have offices out there managing kind of the production of crop. And then when it's all brought to their distillery, it's very hands-on. It's not like they're bringing in experts from anywhere. These are all local, for the most part, people that are working there. And they're just kind of doing it in a new wave kind of way. And it's more efficient, it's more sustainable, and it happens to be really, really tasty. And then on top of that, their warehouse operation, which is again 60% or whatever you want to call it of the result of your Scotch whiskey, is really, really well managed. So they're using really good wood for their casks. They're using lots of different types of casks. And then again, they're playing around with both peated and unpeated whiskey. So we do get casks. Actually, we have an Impex single cask right now on our shelf of unpeated Ardnamurchan, which is quite rare. And then you will find some like this one, a peated Ardnamurchan. But most of their expressions that they put out into the world are a combination of both. So you're not getting one or the other. It's this fine-tuned blending or percentage of both that makes Ardnamurchan as good as they are. And even their standard release, which is their AD expression, which is only $65, which we usually have on the shelf, which sells quite a bit, is a fantastic kind of entry to Ardnamurchan. So it's not like they're taking expertise from all over. They're just kind of part of this new wave of you know, what is going to keep the Scotch industry kind of moving forward, right? I mean, we're already seeing, and with some of the big giants, you know, this struggle of, you know, what do we do? How do we compete? You know, and a lot of these younger distilleries have not figured it out, but have figured out a way to kind of reinvent what Scotch whiskey can be. And that's exciting for the Scotch whiskey enthusiasts. So if they're just good people, it's a cool distillery. It's very hard to get to. It's way out on the edge of a peninsula. So they have some of that salinity. A lot of it is matured right there on site. So they are getting some of that sea air and wind and rain that comes in, and cooler climates and all of that. So just one of those to look out for.
Any idea on their capacity?
Are they beyond their capacity?
No, any idea how what they're putting out?
Yeah, I don't remember the amount of liters they produce at the moment, but they're they're not tiny by any means, but they're not big at all. They're kind of in that lower medium capacity group. They just starting to release their first 10-year-old whiskeys, which haven't made it here to the US yet, but pretty excited to taste some of those because I bet they're pretty good. But yeah, I don't know.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah, I don't know if I did well on that or not, but I've been there 3 times now. I love their distillery, and the people there are really wonderful. So if you can get out there, make the effort because it's definitely worth it. Well, on that note.
So I was watching the chat. Gil, I saw your Navy as well.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, you said you were Army. So I have these wood caps for each branch, and then I have one for SOCOM as well. Charles, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to ask anyone here who served to send you an email and say which branch, and then I'll send you a package with a wood cap for everyone who's here with their branch. Cool.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Maybe as well.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, good stuff.
Navy? All right.
Send an Army one to Charles.
Yeah, just send me an email and I'll get all the talent
Right.
together for Jay, and that'll be easier than me writing down anything at this point after 7 drams. So
Right. Yeah. Please do that. The only one I don't have is Space Force, but I got SOCOM, I got Coast Guard, I got everything.
that was the only branch I was part of, was Space Force.
Well, you get Department of the Air Force, so you can have that one.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, Jay, is there any way to get something to you or no?
Of course. Yeah.
Just
So
send-
Charles has it. My email is j@thewhiskeylab.com. Shoot me a message.
There you go. Pretty
Sounds
easy.
good. Thanks.
Whiskey with an E. Why whiskey with an E?
It's a good question. It's a great conversation starter. That's part of it, but also, so there's a lot of new distilleries that have come up in the USA, and I went to a place called Moonshine University a few years ago. Anyone ever heard of that?
Oh yeah.
That's a real thing. It's not a university, but it is a world-renowned training facility for people who want to be in the spirits industry. And the guy I started, doing business with years ago, it's just me with the Whiskey Lab now. He wanted to start a distillery. I never did, but I said, okay, let's go figure this out. And while we were at Moonshine University, I learned a lot. And then I just did a search, and I saw, well, the USA has 3,000 distilleries working on whiskey. And probably another 1,000 brands. Scotland has 150 distilleries. One of the brands I created before any of this was called Barra whiskey, Barra. Well, Barra is an island, and in Scots Gaelic it means the peak, the highest level. And after I had bought 20 different names for Barra Distillery announced they were creating a whiskey, and I never spoke with them. I said, I'm not going to try to take what they created away and register a brand in the USA. But at that point, I started creating different brands in my head and working on this. I knew I wasn't going to start a distillery, but I owned over 50 domains, and I said, screw it. I'll just, it's an experiment. I'm figuring this out. I'll just call it the Whiskey Lab for now, as I try to figure out if I want to do a distillery or not. The Whiskey Lab is just a placeholder, but it stuck. And I created it with an E. And here I am, an American. And so I stuck with the Whiskey Lab with an E specifically because it was a placeholder. It's a conversation starter, and I'm an American. And so that's kind of the story of the WhiskeyLab name.
Is
Never
that,
intended to use it.
is that prohibitive to the Scotch industry though? Do they look at you and say, I will only work with the WhiskeyLab without an E, or
The Scottish government is flying me out to Scotland next month for industry events.
Okay.
I turn down brands quite often, and I have brands reaching out to me all the time. So absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't think anyone cares about the E at all.
I mean,
I get a lot of questions, although.
and I'm telling you, there's a bunch of people that would be happy to work with you and with the
Yeah.
I bet it burns Holly though.
What's that?
I bet it burns Holly. She's definitely without the E.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I don't want anything to do with American whiskey. I only want to do with Scotch whiskey. That's what the WhiskeyLab is built for. There's also the aspect that the WhiskeyLab.com without an E is owned already. So I can't buy that domain.
Oh, so somebody already beat you to that one, huh?
Yeah. No brand, no creation, but it is a privately owned domain.
Wow. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up tonight. We're a little over an hour and a half at this point, but this was part 3 with Jay, which is pretty amazing. We have never done 3 tastings with one brand or person.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
This is pretty cool. It obviously means we like what you're doing, so that's a good sign. And I'm sure there's going to be a part 4 at some point soon. And so it's been great to have you again, Jay, with us tonight. And I appreciate what you do. And I'll be getting in touch tomorrow about Park Life 20 because I'm pretty sure we're set there.
Cool.
And,
cool.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions or anything that they want to relay through me to Jay or vice versa, we might be able to get more of the other things if we sell out. Just let me know and we'll try and figure that out. But so let's wrap up here. It was great. I think we accomplished a lot tonight with 7 whiskeys, and I hope everybody has a great weekend coming up here tomorrow, Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you. This was
Thanks,
excellent.
everyone. That was
We're a
great.
bad one in the batch. Thank you.
All right.
Charles, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Jay.